Okay, we're rolling.
Any questions? Okay. Let's see. Lexi? I don't know why I keep thinking you're over there. All right. Jonathan. Ashley. Jamie. Layla. Elizabeth. Gracie. Dulce. Marina. Jennifer. Yeah. Zachary. That's it, Zachary. Awesome. All right. So at the end of Tuesday, we were talking about the position, displacement, velocity, acceleration, and how to determine if they're positive, negative, or zero. And we went through that exercise. This is a test level problem where we're going to go through one. I don't think I've done a video on this one. I think this one because it's not one that you wouldn't necessarily have seen, although it's going to be similar in nature to a lot of the other ones. These are moments in time. A, B, C, D, A through J are all moments in time. And so the problem begins when the puck is already moving to the right. B is the time the puck first touches friction. So, and C is the last moment the puck touches friction while moving to the right. So there's friction in this region right here. And I am going to note that there is friction here by writing u sub k is not equal to 0. Now, u sub k is called the coefficient of kinetic friction. It is something that we will get to later on, but this is just shorthand notation for saying there's friction in this area. Assume there's no friction anywhere else. And so the rest, hopefully, is close enough to readable. Does anybody need me to read or interpret my handwriting? G and H. G is puck first touches friction while moving left. And H is puck last touches friction while moving left.
J.
J is puck moving left, end of problem.
On I was the last word starting.
What is I?
Yeah.
Puck back at starting point. And in case you couldn't tell from my incredible drawing, that is a puck. All right. So we'll still write down one, and I'll set it for the next part. All right, so, any questions right now on what the problem is? All right, so we'll start out with what I view as one of the two simplest ones. As long as you remember which is which. X is the symbol for position. It's one of the symbols I use for position. And if you recall, position well, actually, you tell me, what is position?
Position relative to 0.
Yes. So relative to where 0 is, I'm defining 0 right here. This is 0. So when is, at what times is the position equal to 0?
And it's on 0. When box reaches like point exactly under 0.
Yeah, at what times?
G, J, C, like that point.
You said G,
And like, what's the difference between bottom and upper
that's the C.
C?
I assume that's where
Yeah,
you're
that
going.
one, yeah.
All right, so at 0, it's at G and C. So what this is just, when you get to the test, there's going to be 4 different ways from which to choose how to express your answer. This is one of them. So at G, it is 0. And at C, it is 0. All I've done is just shaded in the region below G and below C. Alternatively, there's again 4 ways of doing this. Alternatively, say greater than 0, equal to 0, less than 0, you could just write C, G. Or G, the order doesn't matter there. All right. When is the position positive or greater than 0?
After C. Like from C to D.
All right. So the puck's moving along. Right here, this is the point at which it's at position is equal to 0, and then it's still at position is equal to 0 until it gets back to this point right here. So between C and G, it is positive. Or alternatively, we could write it as parenthesis C, comma, G. When you see the parentheses, that means it's from C to G, all the stuff in between, but does not include C and G.
As opposed to brackets, which would indicate that you include C.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm gonna make sure that's correct.
Yeah, I stole it from the math teacher. So 2 ways of expressing the exact same sentiment. Now, if we've done it right so far, negative should be everything else. But from this point of view, if that's 0 and positive is that way, negative has to be everything over here. So from A to C, not including C, and then from G to J, not including G. So negative from A to C, not including C. And then from G to J, not including J. Oh, sorry, not including G. So that's what this display would look like. Alternatively, we could also write it as, so it's A, including A, so that's the square bracket, the times it's just mentioned. The C, parentheses, because C is not included, and then G to J. And as you look at, actually I'm trying to remember what old test out at what point I started getting the 4 formats. Probably should make sure that I've got at least one of those so that you know what you'll be looking at. Now, another way we could have done the exact same thing, and we'll go for a different color, just to, oh, that's right, purple doesn't show up well. Green is okay. Another way of expressing the exact same thing is just put a plus minus a 0 in the spot. So this was negative, 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 0, positive, 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 positive. 0, negative, negative, negative. Yet a third way of expressing the exact same thing. The advantage of this third method is that you're probably not going to leave anything blank. When I'm grading it, what the things I'm looking for, one, do you have the right thing shaded or the right thing marked as positive or negative or the right area denoted? So, did you mark things correctly? That's good. Did you leave any blanks? That's bad. For instance, you skipped something. More apt to happen here than here, but I still see some people will do this and they'll just get halfway and stop. I'm not quite sure what's going on in the process. And then also, if done correctly, if I set it up correctly, and there was one test where I did not, but if it's set up correctly, you cannot go from negative to positive without going through 0 first. So if you have any jump from positive to negative, from negative to positive or positive to negative, that's also an additional deduction. But you can eliminate all the worry, just get it right.
Simply be correct.
Say it again?
Simply be correct.
Absolutely. Grading would be really fast if everyone does everything correctly.
Is E and F positive or negative?
These are all positive here. The notes at the top, A is at time A, B is at time B. This A, B in parentheses, that's in between A and B. And if you watch the ball thrown in air video, or at least the solution of it, I basically present it this way. Right. Other questions right now? So let's move on to displacement. Oh, we about to ask something? Okay. I've got room here. Oh. Displacement. Positive, 0, or negative. All right. Be absolutely fabulous here with what's what I do? Sure. All right. How is displacement different than position?
Position is relative to 0, displacement is relative to your starting point.
Okay, if that's the case, then where is my displacement 0?
A and J.
I, that's
A,
fine.
I.
Yeah, so it's 0 at A, that's when the problem begins. And it's 0 at I, because that's when it gets back to the starting point. And again, as mentioned before, when I say displacement here, I'm talking overall displacement. All right. So where is it positive?
Not including A and along until E, and not including in all the direction. Like
So
B,
basically from
B,
A through
C,
I,
H, from A to all the way there. Yeah.
from A to E.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And there.
You're including all this
of
too.
them.
Okay. Well, I know I'm zero there, and I can't go from positive to negative without going through zero. So since I have no zeros in between, everything in between here is either all positive or all negative. And it's positive. Because I'm on the plus side of my starting point. And if we did it right, everything else is negative. Well, when I'm over here, I'm on the negative side of where I started, so this has to be, displacement is negative. I'm feeling confident we did it right. Or expressing it in the plus minus 0, 0, too soon. Writing it in this format over here. My displacement is greater than 0 from A to I, not including A comma I. It is equal to 0 at A and I, and it is less than 0, not including I, to J. So put the square bracket to indicate it includes J. And by the way, on the test, there are 4 formats for expressing the answer, but the directions are pick one of them. Occasionally, I have a student who will fill in more than one, which is not inherently wrong, just it's time. But what's more concerning is that when they fill in 2 different formats with different answers. Yeah. All right, questions before we go into velocity, and then acceleration is usually the toughest one. Any questions? Love to hear, because I need to erase some stuff. All right, let's erase some stuff. Ooh, that's a lot easier than I expected.
It's erasing it per mark, so.
Really? All right, get rid of all that stuff. Now let's change that. So this will be velocity and acceleration. Oops. All right. What determines the sign of velocity? Of her direction.
Or direction of your speed.
Okay, it is the direction of the speed. Perhaps, in this case right here, when is the velocity positive?
When it's moving towards 0, well,
When it's moving that way, it's positive. When it's moving this way, it's negative.
Yeah. So the sign depends upon what I was expecting to hear was directions of the movement, directions of motion. It's moving that way, it's positive. Moving that way, it's negative. Now let's do this similar thing that we just did. Let's start out with 0. Where is the velocity 0?
it's,
It's already moving at A. That's the puck moving to the right then when it begins.
but it's never 0 because it doesn't stop. It just changes direction.
All right, if it changes direction, tell me about the signs of velocity if it changes directions.
Then it would switch, which would mean that it would have to be zero at some point.
Yes. In a one-dimensional problem, you cannot turn around without passing through zero.
Then,
And when it touches the wall, it's stop for some second and then
So it's gonna touch the wall, so at D, let's see, D first, so it touches the wall at D, the puck still continues, I mean, there's some flex there, the puck still continues a little bit, at E is the turnaround point, and then it bounces back. So E is the point at which it's zero, that is turn around. Doesn't want to die. And that one got cut. All right. So it is zero at E, as was established.